I didn't even check to see if that was. Wow, I like that. Oh, you're listening to it on your phone.
Yeah. So
I just really abruptly cut to myself. Sorry about that, everybody. Sorry I didn't do a sound check. I didn't do headphones.
I did all that, so you're
I had
okay.
some monitor issues tonight.
I'm sorry. I did all that. I didn't let you know.
Oh, you did all that?
I did all the. Yeah, I did all those checks.
Oh,
Hey, once in a while I pull some shit off.
you're so sweet. Look at you. Look at you stepping up, putting your big boy pants
He grows
on.
up and he grows up and
What
he grows
movie is
out.
that from? You put your big boy pants on.
Oh,
What is that from?
I don't know. Is it like cheaper by the dozen or something dumb like that?
I don't know. I'm sure it's something dumb. And if you know it out there, if you're watching and you want to tell us, enlighten us, go ahead and comment on Facebook. It's live. We're live. Hey, Todd,
Yes.
tonight, so I do this a lot. I start a sentence and then I stop and I'm going to rephrase the sentence because I don't think maybe people are going to catch
what we're
I'm
thinking.
Yeah, know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But last podcast, we had Rachel Mosier on and we talked a lot about feelings and a lot about, I felt like it was my own personal therapy session.
She's good, man.
She's pretty good. And I really liked how she was talking about, if I want to help my son or if anybody wants to help their kids, maybe their first step that they should take is helping themselves learn how to talk to their kids instead of hoping that somebody else can talk to their kids, because what she said was very poignant.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, here's your son looking at you and you're saying, I'm all out. I can't help you.
And when
I
you
can't
look at it
fix
from
you.
that perspective, you go, "Ooh, that's fucking
Ooh.
scary."
Yeah.
That's a scary. And you can imagine, I'm an adult. That sounds scary. Imagine a little kid. So
Right. So I took that to heart. And so, Rachel, I'll be seeing you soon.
Oh,
But tonight, I liked that theme. I liked what we were talking about. And tonight is not going to be so much exactly a carryover from that, but we're going to be identifying belief systems. Like, why do we believe what we believe? And how can we self-correct? How can we diagnose what we believe in and put it through the test and see if it's true or false, or does it help us through life? Is that correct, Todd?
yeah, that's what I was thinking we could do. Because I mean, it's the gist I got from Rachel, and she says this to my lady as well as she said to you that the other night. She said, "Wow, that sounds exhausting to be carrying that around." And when you reframe it somehow, it makes you go, "Oh, you're right. It is exhausting doing this."
Now
I never even thought about that. It's like me. I think I was talking about you wearing the masks, and maybe I'm mixing too many things. But somehow
I know. I was talking about. I try to be goofy and silly at work.
you work hard at that.
I work really hard at being the goofball, even though I'm not feeling that because I hate the negativity.
Right.
And then when I get home, there's nothing left in the tank.
Right. So that's exhausting at work, and then you come home and you don't have time for anybody else, and
Right.
you wonder, like, why am I not treating the people that love me the most the best? Well, because you're fucking exhausted by being something other than yourself.
Right.
So that got me thinking a lot. I went on a very nice vacation, and during that time period,
Did you skinny dip?
no, we didn't skinny
Todd,
dip.
with the blur on his face, he's skinny
No,
dipped.
no skinny dipping
Oh.
took place. We were also reading this book. We drove around a lot in Florida.
Did you
And
read
so
it to each other out loud?
She was reading it to me because I did all the driving.
So
okay?
it was a yes. That's
Yes,
a yes.
it is. I know you like that part about our relationship the best. Well, it's called "You Are a Badass" by Jen Sincero or Sincero. Sorry, I'm not good on that. Anyways, we'll make sure it's spelled correctly on the liner notes. She has this book called "You Are a Badass," and so I got it for JD. I think a couple years ago, and she just found it and heard it was really good. Oh no, she had a book club reading it, and so all these women got together because it's written by a woman, and I think it's kind of geared towards women. But of course, I'm just listening to her talk about these ideas and philosophies. And the reason why I bring this up, because I want to give you some credit. Sometimes you have to hear something so many times that finally it just like, oh,
like you with your first wife.
I'm
and you with your second wife.
No, it's more of it really threw me off. No, it's more of like you talking about this podcast and us doing this, right? Like, how committed are you? Do you really want to do this? And me going, yes, I do. But your actions don't show it. Or what you needed to hear from me, I didn't say. And so I was listening to this book, and it was really talking a lot about fear and how it just drives so much of our, it drives everything, because it's not just social media, not getting enough likes or getting enough tweets and things like that. It's us thinking we're going to lose friendships if we draw too hard of lines on things, and not being fearful of that. That was such a big theme in this book, and I'm only halfway through it. But it was really incredible to have somebody reframe something. And that's not the only thing she reframed for me. I'll talk more about that later. But just reframing things so that you don't have to be anything that you don't want to be. Now, that's easier said than done. We talked about that last time with Rachel, too. But then you start going, okay, well, then, so what is it then? So if you can be anything you can be, we can be cynical and say, well, that's ridiculous. You can't be anything you want to be. Or we can say, why can't you? And if you really think you want to, then are you going to do everything you can to do whatever that thing is, And like last week I was talking about, telling my son, you can do whatever you want to do, right?
Oh,
and I
meant setting him up for failure.
And and so I thought of that in whatever it is you really want to do realistically. Like if my son comes and goes, Dad, I want to be a quarterback in the NFL. I'm going to go, hey, bud, sorry, First of all, you're not playing football. Second of all, you don't have the talent to do that.
You have the cards stacked against you. I know you want to be a quarterback in the NFL, but first, maybe you might want to play some football in high school.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I'm okay being realistic with people about some of those things. But when it comes to other things, being a chef or, being a tennis pro at a tennis, at a country club, those things are attainable. And if you work hard enough at them and you believe enough that those are going to happen, they will happen, I think. But I just like the way this lady framed things, kind of similar to the way Rachel frames things. It gets you thinking one step ahead, going, "Oh shit! Wait a second. If that's not true, then what else isn't true?" Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. So that was the first part I was going to talk about. Was you are a badass, and that's really. It makes me think about how. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
No. I was. What you said. The book's called "You Are a Badass," and you can get it through Amazon. It's also on Audible, so you can listen to it if that's your niche. It's mine. That's the way I like to ingest books.
That's a good idea. I think I might do that. I drive around a lot sometimes. So.
Yeah, only if it's a good narrator. A great book that you've read can totally be ruined by a crappy narrator.
That happened. I'm listening.
It's just a voice that you're not. It could be a good read. But it's not the voice that you had in your head.
Gotcha.
And then it throws it off for
me. Well,
I'm
listening to Steve Young's, he's a quarterback for the 49ers. I'm listening to his autobiography called Behind the Spiral. And the first chapter, he's reading it. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. I'm so excited. I love it when the author, if somebody famous, is reading it. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. And he's only read the foreword. And right after that was a different person, and he does a fine job, but it kind of went just a little bit for me, because I was like, oh, he's going to read this book. This is sick. It's going to be great.
Right.
So little sadness. Not a lot.
No go on that.
No go on that.
Okay. So you read You Are a Badass.
Right.
And it makes you start to wonder. It makes you start to question yourself and question why you're doing certain things, right?
Right.
So what did you come up with? What were some of the questions that you were asking yourself?
It was more of it cleared my thinking. And I found that I spend a lot of time worrying about things and maybe, having a lot of anxiety about something. And it kind of occupies my thoughts that I don't ever, as much as I would want to, be really at peace and not really being worried about anything. Kind of that Zen, whatever thing people talk about for meditation. You become nothing, kind of. I do meditate and do things like that, so I know I have moments of clarity throughout my day. But overall, I worry about a lot of stuff, and that is such a negative energy to have going on inside of you all the time that it blocks you from having clear thoughts about, okay, well, and it could be maybe I'm going to have a meeting with somebody at work. And so I'm sitting here going, oh, God, this meeting is going to be tough. They're going to ask me for this, and this, and I don't know. And I start making this small little thing that really isn't that big of a deal into a big problem. And so what I've started doing just in the last handful of days is every time I find myself that freight train starting to creep going downhill and it's not going to be stopped, right? It's going to take me in a bad spot. I just I'm not going to stop thinking about it. It's almost impossible to tell somebody to stop doing something. So I know I'm going to think about it. So then I just try to think about all the positive aspects of what's, why are you having this meeting? Oh, they're coming to you to ask you about this because they think you are the person that knows everything in this area. So they're coming to you for that. So they're coming to you for answers and looking for things, and you feel good because you know you have them. Right. And they're coming to talk to you, and you know how to, you can present some things to them, but you've presented it a bunch of times. So it's a piece of cake, so a willing audience. You have the information they need. And so that it continues my thinking, but it continues my thinking in a positive direction. Because you just can't stop. Oh, that's wrong. Stop thinking that way. This doesn't work like that.
Yeah, but wouldn't you? Is there even a little bit of that stress? Even a little bit of it, isn't it good to stress about it? Like,
yeah.
All right.
Make sure you're prepared.
I know there's 2 ladies coming to my house tomorrow to work on their future podcast, their future show. We're going to start nailing some things down. I stress, worry, think about that project because I want to deliver for them, right? And if I didn't stress about it, if I didn't worry or think about it, I then worry, well, am I that committed? If it's important enough to me, then I worry about it. Like my kids.
Sure.
I worry about my kids. If I didn't give 2 shits.
Right.
Where they were at or what they were doing. So isn't there a little bit of something good with that?
I'll stick with my exciting meeting narrative.
All right.
It's so gripping. And it's like, so you're right. That's going to drive me. So I need to make sure they're wanting something from me. I have the answers. Mm-hmm. So I just got to have all my ducks in a row. So we need to get together to do that. So I probably could have gotten to the same spot, fuck, what's going on? Oh shit, I gotta get, I would have maybe go, I gotta start doing this, this, and this. But that's a high level of stress. That's unneeded. If I had been like, okay, so they want A, B, and C. All right, I got it all. Let's see, how am I going to present it? Am I going to put a PowerPoint together? Whatever. And then in an enjoyable way.
Okay.
am planning for what I need to. And I really disagree that if I'm not stressing out about it, that it doesn't matter.
Oh.
But I get your point of what's going to motivate you to make sure you're doing the best job possible. That makes sense to me. So I think that if you can start thinking in a positive way of, so what do I do to make that possible? And, how am I going to approach this then? Am I going to be pissed? Or am I going to be freaking out? Or am I just going to be like, okay, so I want to do the best job I can. How am I going to do that? And you work forward from a positive space. I don't know. I'm talking kind of out of my ass as I've read part of a book. You're
not talking out of your ass. You're talking from a first-person perspective of how you're trying to apply what you've heard and read to your life.
Right.
So it's not necessarily out of your ass. You're just like, hey, this is what I'm trying. This is what I read. This is how I interpreted it. And I will say the way I was brought up, and I think it's a way that a lot of people are brought up, it's through stress, right? It's not so much. I think the millennials or the parents of the millennials tried to do this. Hey, it's not about if you succeed. It's okay to fail. It's all about enjoying the entire ride, right? And I would agree to that to a certain extent. But when the whole thing is about the ride and all about you,
right, then
you get what is stereotypically stamped on a millennial's forehead, and a lot of people look at it and go, "Oh, Jesus, entitled. Yeah. You're upset about everything because life doesn't go exactly your way." So I subscribe to the idea, the thought of life is a journey, and you might have goals, but your life isn't about the goal. Your life is about a constant journey, and you have to enjoy that journey. But growing up, the only teachable thing, the only way I learned was through stress. Like my wrestling coach scared the fuck out of me.
Right.
He was just so intimidating that through that stress, I tried really hard. Right.
Right.
I was not intimidated by school. I was not intimidated or stressed to do well in school, and I didn't try.
Right.
There's only been a few times in my life where something was important enough to me that I was doing it because you know what? I just really like this. I'm just going to do my best, and I'm proud of the effort that I put in. I mean, so few times, I'm probably 2, 3 maybe. Everything else that I tried to do, and I try to do really well, there's this huge stress aspect to it. Whether it's a big thing is I don't want to let anybody down, and I don't want to look foolish. So
I mean, my question to you would be, what's the worst thing that would happen if you looked foolish? Like, what that's, I mean, because those are fears that are driving you, right?
Sure.
Fears that drive me too.
Absolutely.
So what is it? I mean, so looking foolish, what's the worst thing that's going to happen to that? Just that one question. So if you were to be foolish somehow, how is that going to impact you?
Yeah, and that's it's a great question, but you would think it'd be a no-brainer. I go out of my way to be foolish every day at work to make somebody laugh.
Right.
It's a purposeful thing.
Yeah, that's different. But when you are looking foolish because you've made a choice that wasn't supposed to be a funny answer.
Yeah, I mean, it is so. You know how there's certain sayings now that are so cliche? It's like, oh, that's the hip thing to say. Embrace failure. Everybody fails. Embrace it. Don't run from failure. It's like that's fucking way easier said than done. Way easier said than done, because there are responsibilities with what you want to either do or where you're at. If I wanted to really embrace, I had this conversation today with a friend of mine, and they had asked, what would you do if you could do anything? If you could be really happy, what would that look like? And I said, I don't know. My life, I have a great job that pays really well, that gives me a lot of flexibility. I can take online classes. I can improve myself. I can do I could do yoga. I mean, I could do things while I'm at work. I could also do other things at work and get paid really well. I have a wonderful family, a great house, a wonderful neighborhood. Everything is really well. There's like 0.5%. It's 99.5% of my life is like, well, it's awesome. What do I have to complain about? Right? But there's that 5% that for whatever reason, it's like a hangnail.
Oh, it's like when your boss pulls you in for your review, and 99 things are correct and one of them is not, and you don't leave there going, man, I just fucking killed it. You walk there going, oh, this one thing and you think about it. Now, hopefully at some point you go, okay, one thing I got to work on.
But that's not, I mean, it's not even realistic. I mean, in actuality, it's probably less than 99.5. You know what I'm saying? But is that even realistic? That, is it a total weird ass idealistic dream to go, you know what? I'm going to keep changing things until my life is perfect. I'm going to keep looking on the other side of the fence because the grass is greener some other way. Or is it simply from the same story I've told on this podcast many, many times? Do I simply need to learn how to change my perspective, change my paradigm, to look at my life, look at the way I'm doing things differently, and then go, oh, I got this. I'm good.
I think you only do that if you feel like there's something wrong. Do you know what I mean? I don't think. I mean, if you feel happy and you feel fulfilled and things are awesome, then I don't think you don't have to look for anything. So I would say you're golden. If you feel like everything is going that well and you feel that happy at 99.5, good for you, man. I'm not there. That's awesome. But I mean, why would you shift? And maybe that's what people. I mean, you hear people talking about, oh, this changed my life and all these things. Maybe they were in a position where they needed to have their life changed. They just were not in a good place. Yeah. And so if you're happy and things are going well, then I don't think you have to do anything to change. You feel like you have to change, but I do think it's really important, and I think that's probably one of the things that I try to push on my kids like crazy, is that embracing failure in a healthy way is learning from your mistakes.
There you go.
Maybe just going over the definition of beliefs. It was really interesting because the Greek had like a dual concept for what beliefs were. The first part was, and excuse my horrible pronunciation, but it's pistis, or pistis. I can't remember. I don't know what that is. And that's like the trust confidence part of belief, and the doxa, which is the opinion and the acceptance of beliefs. So it's like a 4-part thing for what a real belief is. And so it's trust, confidence, opinions, and acceptance of those ideas. And it was really interesting to read. This kind of stuff fascinates me, so I do read it a lot. I read about it a lot. And the more we believe something and the stronger we believe it, it just like carves these neural pathways in our brains that, like some people say that it's impossible for us to not eat sugar, right? Because they're feeding us the exact perfect amounts of everything and it's firing off on our brains. And so that's why you want Twinkies.
Allegedly.
Changing beliefs are really, really difficult.
Right.
And you have to have big things happen. And I think we're seeing that now with, I don't know if you've seen all these YouTube videos of people sawing their guns to pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a need. I mean, you might have changed your belief system drastically because of some, because of the Florida shooting is allegedly why those are happening. But it seems like there has to be some kind of like huge break to stop that kind of carved out belief system that's taken place, or at least that's what the studies are showing. And again, I don't have the studies to cite, so I apologize for that. But I did think about that. Like, what causes the knee-jerk reaction belief changes, and then why do some beliefs take forever to change? And all of a sudden, on your deathbed, you go, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I felt that way about it. Now I'm going to do something different, or I'm going to forgive you of whatever."
You just nailed it on the head? It's like, when you are ready, what triggers those changes in belief or changes in when you're habitually doing something in your rituals, something's ritualistic, right? You've developed this, like smoking, right? It's just such a habit. You've developed that habit. You've done it hundreds and thousands of times, right? Okay. Over and over and over again. You feel a certain way. I'm going to grab my cigarettes. I'm going to go out the door. I'm going to go stand in the cold. I'm going to smoke the cigarette. Right? I feel this way. I'm going to grab my cigarettes. I'm going to grab my coat. Go stand in the cold. It's habit. And from past experience and different books that I've read, it's like you have to get to the precipice, which, by the way, means you're right on the edge of a cliff. If you didn't know that. I'm sure you all did because you're smart. But anyway, it means you're on the precipice and you're about ready to fall off. There's no other way to go. You're marching, and you can't stop the movement. The only thing you can do is stop the direction. And you have to get right to the end of where you could be obese. You could have lost a loved one. You could, your marriage could be coming to an end. I mean, when really significant things are happening to people, that's when you see they're at that precipice and they've changed and they turn and they change their belief systems. They change their rituals. All of a sudden people are cutting up their guns, because something dramatic enough hit them hard enough. Right. They're like, I can't keep going in this direction because if I do, I'm just putting my words into somebody else's mouth who cut up their guns. If I continue to support this way of thinking, maybe I'm contributing to deaths of children.
Oh, wow.
Now, whether that's right or wrong, that could have been the thought pattern of that person.
Right.
And they've finally been convinced enough, something bad enough has happened that they're like, whoop, I'm changing the direction. I have to keep going forward, but I'm going to change the direction I'm going.
That's interesting. And I think systems change too, because like I know the NRA has got like all these things are dropping off. So all these supporters of the NRA, like sponsors, like Delta and Hertz rental cars, big companies are stopping the support for them. And at
least they're saying that.
Yeah, at least they're saying that.
They're saying that until the NRA like throws money their way. Oh, some more money their way.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah, could be. And I had a guy say the other day, he's like, man, it's really hard to be part of the NRA right now because they don't seem very sympathetic or understanding about what took place. I haven't watched any NRA videos, so I don't know what they've said. But he's just like, man, the NRA from when my grandfather was around, it was just like gun safety, how to take care of your guns, kind of like a small little tribe of people who were kind of into rifles and the Second Amendment. And then it became this huge thing that they say is run by gun manufacturers now. I don't know if that's true or not either. But I just think that we have to realize that other things are changing too. So my belief system in the NRA is not, if I'm thinking about my grandfather, he was part of it, my dad's part of it, I'm part of it, it's my family. That makes sense to me why you would believe so strongly in something like that and not want to change. But if you know the idea, what you think you are following, in this case the NRA, it has changed. It's not what it used to be.
Right. I mean, because our society has changed. Back in the day, the NRA was like, well, let's promote hunter safety, right?
Right.
Let's responsible gun ownership, and now we have tactical. Everybody wants to be tactical. Everybody wants to train like they're a fucking SEAL, right? Everybody feels the need. There's so much fear, right? I have a concealed carry permit. I have guns in this house. They're all locked up. They can be gotten to easily by me, but there is fear has saturated our country. And America that we have today, when 9/11 happened, it changed everybody. Guess what? You did it. The terrorists won. You did it. You did. Because America is completely different. You wanted to change us? You did. And the fear-mongering is
Epic.
It's epic. It's beyond anything I ever could have imagined. It's 24-hour news networks going, fear sells. Sex sells, but what's right after sex? Fear. Let's terrorize the fuck out of everybody. I mean, every 24-hour news network should look at themselves and go, oh, wait, am I spreading fear? Do I have the whole story, or am I just scaring the fuck out of everybody? I'm probably scaring the fuck out of everybody. What is the definition of terrorism again? Oh, yeah, it's scaring the fuck out of everybody. So they change their patterns. They change who they are and how they live their lives. That's terrorism.
Keeping them terrorized and fearful.
So when we talk about the NRA, and you talk about older generations that are clinging to the NRA, they're thinking of what they got into it at the beginning, and they looked at it probably as a wholesome thing, right? This is what it was. It was a very simpler times, Todd. It was simpler times. It wasn't so fear-based. I mean, we have tactical pants and tactical backpacks and tactical fanny packs. Everything's fucking tactical. Can you put a gun in your pocket? Can you put a gun in your running shirt? Can you put a gun in your shoe? I don't fucking know, but I can put a gun in my car. I mean, there's there's the idea of that was nowhere. It's been nowhere in our history. People might have carried spears. They might have had guns on their hips, but they weren't thinking, how can I be tactical?
Gotcha.
They were just simply, I'm going to have a gun on my hip, wild, wild west type shit.
So you think it is really just money driven?
No, I think it's fear driven. I think it's fear and money. Like I said, sex sells, and then right after sex, it's fear. And then way down the line is like logic and hope and nice things, Like, let's talk about how nice today was, everybody. Oh, the weather was so nice. I took a walk by the park. Nobody wants to hear that shit. They want to hear the devastating shit. And as an example, because I am a terrible parent and you all can judge me, last night I walk into my daughter's room and she's playing a video game right on the PS4. And when I get home from work, I like to do a silly little thing. I will walk in, I will disrupt my whole family's lives one by one, and then go, hey, I've been home 5 minutes. Where's the hug? What the fuck is going on here? Hello? Don't you know Dad's home? And they giggle a little bit. I keep it on until they finally succumb and they have to give me a hug. So anyway, I was sitting there next to my daughter watching her play a game.
It's not going to be pretty no matter what, so just do it.
No, I mean, I'm trying. One, I was trying to think of the name of the game. But two, I don't like it when people go, well, games really influence our youths, and we're going to blame everything on games.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do that. But dogs, something dogs. Not Reservoir Dogs. It's something. she's playing this game, and it's very realistic. It's great graphics, but she's shooting cops. Like I've always been able to justify shooting games by going, oh, you're shooting an alien. That's so sweet. Or how about you and me team up and we're going to shoot all the bad guys. Right. Or there's a mission. The game is telling you, well, you got to take out this terrorist group or you got to do this. And there was a way for me to justify doing it and getting enjoyment from it. Right.
Sure.
This game that she's playing, she's not going off of a mission.
She's just running around.
It's kind of like Grand Theft Auto, where you can just run around and do really fucked up shit.
Right.
And that's what she was doing. She wasn't following a mission. No one was telling her what to do. You just got to be able to sit back and watch. Well, what would you choose to do? Oh, so this is exciting for you, running from the cops. This is exciting for you, shooting people with a machine gun. These school shootings they're affecting the families of the victims and the kids that were in the vicinity that knew the victims. It has zero effect on the mainstream kids. None.
Because they're so used to playing games like that?
I don't know. I don't know what the exact cause of this is. But I do know that when my wife walked in, my jaw was on the floor because I was still watching my daughter. I'm like, what? You're choking somebody out with this fucking... It looks like a yo-yo, but it's probably one of those black cat things where back in the old days, you could
smack him on the head with
slap him on the back of the head. But he's like choking people out. My daughter's character is a boy. The character is choking people. My daughter is choking people out. She's shooting cops. She's stealing cars, and, probably every kid who might ever listen to this is going to go, duh, hello, Matt, it's a fucking game, dude. Right. Lighten up, old man. That's my impersonation of a young person.
A young person from when we were young.
Young, yeah. But it's no different than me watching porn. And yes, Mom, I watch porn. I'm sorry, but I do. And that thought pattern of you have to constantly increase the stimuli, right? Back in the day when I was a little kid, just seeing a picture of maybe like Sears catalog, JCPenney's, the bra section. I'm like, woohoo, and then it was like Playboys, and then it was Penthouse, and then it was like you're constantly scaling up what it takes to entice you, right? And I would liken that to our desensitization of our kids. We're constantly pushing the envelope of what is it to be entertained,
right? Or
how can we entertain these youths? How can we occupy all their time? Fortnite, my kids are addicted to. And all they do in that game is run around and shoot people. I don't know if it's Reservoir Dogs or something dogs, whatever game my daughter was playing. All you do is fucked up shit. You're part of an anarchist group and you're running around America causing anarchy.
Sure.
But I would liken that to sex. When groups of people say, hey, there's a real problem with pornography in America, I would have to say, yeah, maybe there is. And maybe, ladies, your war, this whole #MeToo movement, you're fucked. Ha! There's no way you're going to make the ground that you want to make. Why? Because sex and pornography is so thick in our country. It's so ingrained in our culture. When I was a kid, I had to work. I had to really work, Todd. I had to be like a fucking spy. Just to see a naked girl, right? Mm-hmm. In a magazine.
Yeah.
Now, I just pull out my smartphone. Ba-doing.
And you can see the craziest shit ever.
You can find the craziest shit ever. And And if the whole hashtag Me Too movement really wanted to wage war on the objectification of women, if you really wanted to wage war on, I really want to change how men see us. I really want to change how our society views women. Well, right now we have a law that was passed, and we have no the internet law. What's it called?
Oh, I don't know. You know the net neutrality thing?
Net neutrality. Okay. Exactly. Right now we don't have it. Right now, corporations, right now our cable providers can block certain sites from their customers.
Oh, gotcha.
Right now. So if you, I hate saying this, but if you really want to make a dent in how men perceive women, if you really want to make a dent in the perverse nature of humanity, why don't we go out of our way and block all child porn sites? Why don't we go out of our way and block all female porn or just porn sites?
Yeah.
Why don't you do that? If you want to wage war on something, wage war on that, because that has so much more of an impact than anything else you're doing. Because my kids go to school and they have a smartphone, or their friends have a smartphone, and they're inundated with whatever they want to see. Now, do I want that to be our culture? Do I want that to be the way we live our lives, with Big Brother telling us what we can and cannot watch? No. But I don't know what else is going to change masses of opinions about women.
Well, and I wonder too, whether this is good or bad or not, is, somebody was talking about the Florida shooting today, and I realized that I haven't seen anything on TV about it. I don't watch television, so I don't know what the footage looks like of the kids coming out of the building. I'm sure it happened at some point. I don't know all the normal scenes that I probably would have seen because I'm just not watching it. And so when he was talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot
Who
that
was
happened.
talking about it?
I can't remember who it was. This gentleman was talking. We were just having a conversation about it.
All right.
And so I go, oh God, I didn't say this out loud because I'd be an idiot. But I was like, oh, that's right. There's a shooting in Florida. I forget about it because I am not inundated by it.
Yeah.
And so I don't necessarily know if that's healthy or not, because my first thought and what my kids know is that if I start having issues when it comes to an Xbox, they'll all stand outside and watch me throw it as far as I can to see how many pieces it shatters into on the street.
You liar.
I would do it in 2 seconds.
Do you throw the Xbox?
Oh my God.
Well, here's
yes.
a
But no, I'm not
all
saying.
right, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I also don't want to say that. I'm not saying to you like you're not a good father. I'm just saying that I have levels of I'm willing to tolerate.
Right.
And if it's going to always be a battle to be on or off of it. If there's, you can't handle it while you're on it, those kind of things, I'm not going to deal with those battles. I'll just get rid of everything. Or you can use it like it's supposed to be, which is a tool to enjoy yourself once in a while, not consume your whole goddamn life to the point where I can't talk to other people because the only people I can talk to is on my headset on my video game machine. Well, then we need to look at all of our priorities because that's fucked up.
Yeah. Once again,
Sorry.
Yeah, you should be sorry, you bastard. Right in our ears. Again, ladies, hashtag Me Too movement. If you want to make a huge change in our culture, smartphones have not helped. They haven't helped. If I have to get a magazine to objectify a woman, if I have to go out of my way to go to a computer even to objectify a woman.
And there's no dividing line. I'm just throwing this out there because it popped in my head.
What?
The idea between objectification of somebody and then the hashtag Me Too movement is about sexual assault. But if we are, I'm clarifying my own thought.
Okay,
but
right,
but if those magazines and porn is objectifying women, so you can't have your cake and eat it too, kind of.
Yeah, well,
for lack of a better
you know
way
what?
of putting it.
I could be completely wrong about the hashtag Me Too movement. I'm not a lady. My perception of their movement is treat people with respect. I get it. Don't sexually harass somebody. obviously, don't rape anybody. Duh. Right? And we never should have been putting up with that to begin with. But that has become very muddied. Like, don't rape, don't sexually molest, don't touch inappropriately. Those things to me are no-brainers,
Right.
and they're very black and white. And I feel like I know the difference.
Yes, I agree.
But it's become very muddied to the point to where people's careers are being ruined, and people are not being hired back into positions, into their careers when allegations are proved wrong. You know, so now the argument is quit objectifying us. I don't care if I am an actress and I dress extremely revealing, and I don't care if I did agree to play a part which objectifies women, and my character gets sexually harassed, or I allow it to happen, the worst description would be like an Uncle Tom.
Okay.
Right? I feel really terrible saying that, but if you're going to, again, I totally support no rape, no sexual molestation, no sexual assault, right? But we all are adults, and you have to have communication. You have to be able to say, listen, I'm married and I don't want your fucking hand on my ass, right? Mm-hmm. Or I don't appreciate that, or this is unwarranted. Or if you do that shit again, because I've told you twice already, one, we're going to the HR, or two, I'm going to go to the police, right? We've had discussions. I've identified what I don't like, okay? It cannot be, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, this was a wonderful date. I love this date. This is a great date. How about I give you fellatio? How about I go down on you? God, that's awesome. We're both naked. Oh, you look like you're into it. Awesome. Next day, she tries to ruin my career.
Sure.
It can't be that, you know? But because it's gotten so muddied, it's like, well, what do you want? You probably want the objectification of women to stop. Right? I mean, in general, wouldn't you think that would be the thing?
Sure.
So in order for that huge thing to change, you have to look at the biggest culprits. What is the biggest thing supporting the objectification of women? And I guarantee you it is not Playboy magazine.
Right. Is it the Kardashians?
Well,
their
they
asses and their tits everywhere?
They play right into it. They're Uncle Tom. They're
Yeah.
an Uncle Tom. You know? They're ruining this march, this whole hashtag Me Too. You can't Ariana Grande. If you don't want to be looked at, leered at, thought of in sexual ways, don't dress like a fucking Catholic schoolgirl and show off your ass while you're dancing. Oh, stop it, Matt. Stop it. We can dress however we want. You know what? Let's grow up. Let's grow up and realize there are real stimuli out there, and there's real reactions to that stimuli. And you're dressing that way because you know it's fucking sexy and it turns people on and it makes people want to look at you. Fine. I like looking. That's fine. But if you're going to endorse that, then you are not endorsing hashtag me too. So therefore, you are Uncle Tom. And any lady who's like, no, I really want this movie gig. And, oh, well, really? In this movie, I have to be naked with my son peering into the bathroom? Why do I have to be naked again in the shower? Why do you have to show my whole body again? I don't get that. I think it's a little unnecessary. Nope, I'll do it. Uncle Tom.
Did you just come up with this Uncle Tom thing?
No, I'm just trying to think of what would be the closest example of this. I don't agree with slavery, and obviously, and I don't agree with sexual assault or rape, and I really kind of don't agree with the hashtag Me Too movement. I want to treat people with respect, but I don't want people's lives to be ruined off false allegations.
Right.
Right. to me, growing up, the relationship between men and women was very simple and easy to navigate because people were adults and you communicated. And you said, no, I'm not into that, or yes, I am into that. Or a lot of us chalked it up to, oh my God, whew, that was probably a bad thing. That probably didn't work out so well. I failed at that, right? I asked this girl out on a date. I thought she was into me. She wasn't. Or she was way too into me. And I had to dump her, right?
Right.
But we all make those mistakes. It's a human fucking thing because I can't look into your brain and know that you're a perfect match for me. So you got to try people on. And when you try things on, you're going to go into the dressing room. You're going to grab that thing off the rack. You're going to try it on. You're going to go, oh, it looked great on the rack. Or it looked great on that dummy. It looks like shit on me.
Right.
Because I have birthing hips. But you have to try things on.
Okay.
Right?
Yes, I agree.
Anyway, you're going to make mistakes. So with this whole hashtag #MeToo movement, you're saying this group is what it is saying to me as a man is you can't make a mistake. You can't objectify us. You can't do any of these things. Okay. All right. If it's that important to you, let's change it. Let's change society. Let's not do it bullshit. If you're gonna do it half-assed, I'm not even gonna listen to you at all. So if you really want to make some change, let's look at the big things that really influence men.
Sure.
And you had to be a little self-critical.
Well, and you have to. Everybody does, because when people want to have the right message go out there, they put a pretty woman on it. Why do you think the spokesperson for the NRA who's out on all the things right now? Pretty woman. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They don't want to have, because they're trying to appeal to a different demographic now. It's not the same one. But I guess that's probably good marketing, and I'm not good at those kind of things. But I had
write your thought down because I don't want you to forget your thought. It's not unlike one of our guests that we had on, and it was a podcast called The Well Raiser Radio. And I asked that guest, why is it that your workout video had to be so provocative?
And it was over the top.
It was over the top, sexy, provocative. Now, my co-host at the time, really close friend of mine, great person, he said, that is masterful. It's masterful advertising.
Yeah. It's
great manipulation. That's perfect. That's the culture we live in, ladies.
Well, and I think that's true because...
And you endorse it. You embrace it and you capitalize on it. And if you're going to do that, there's a whole other side to that coin that you have to accept.
We may have to have Denise on. She'd be a good person to talk to this about.
I would love to.
That'd be great. I'm sure she has no opinion on it at all. All right, so I got a really good one for you.
All right,
ready?
Bring it. I'm ready for something good.
What do you think is the one, and we're completely switching gears.
We're going to get off the whole hashtag me too.
Yeah. What is the one belief that you hold that seems absolutely unwavering? And I probably should have given you these ahead of time, and I apologize. Because I don't want an instant answer. I want a thoughtful answer.
All right,
that doesn't give you much time to think.
But I want to, let's talk through this question.
Yeah.
What is the one what?
Belief.
What is the one belief
that you hold that you feel is pretty much unwavering, will never change?
Now,
do you have one? I don't know if I have one.
I want to talk through it a little bit.
Okay.
I want to make sure I'm giving you an answer that lands on this target of a question. The belief. What belief?
And for a terrible example would be like, my grandfather was a lifelong Democrat. My dad is. I am. I just don't see that changing. That's pretty much unwavering. My whole life I've thought that way. I'm 50. That's pretty much unwavering.
I don't know. Probably one belief system that I kind of hold on to wholeheartedly is the golden rule. Is that maybe a belief system?
Yes.
Right? So my kids don't know this, so maybe many other people don't know the golden rule, which I thought everybody knew.
Me too.
Which is treat others as you would have them treat you. And I was trying to tell my son this just the other day. I said, "Come on, bud. Let's think of the golden rule." He's like, "I don't know what that is, Dad." Oh, would you like your sister to do to you what you're doing to her? Well, no. Well, then don't do that.
Right.
That's the golden rule. Now, I give people a hard time. I joke, I kid, I tease. I fully expect that in return. Now, if you're one of those ass clowns that loves to give people shit and you can't handle it, somebody says something off to you and you got to fall apart because you're a fragile little snowflake, you fucking grow up, okay? Or don't give anybody a hard time. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So if you can't take it, don't dish it out, right? I suppose that would be a belief system that I've always kind of held on to.
Good. I like that. And is that something that you feel like that belief system was set up by your parents, your grandparents, or how you were raised, or is that something you came to later on in life? And later on in life could be when you graduated from high school. I don't know.
Well, I think there's a lot of, I think, I heard that a lot as a kid.
Right.
I think that was kind of a common thing to say to kids back in the day. You would hear it in church. You would hear it from your teachers, I think the very first time I ever heard somebody say, no, that's not correct, was from my first wife.
When was what wasn't correct?
Don't expect that what is bothering you would bother me. So that belief system trips me up every now and then because this whole, I want to treat you as I would want you to treat me. Well, that also can fuck you up because if you are treating me a certain way, I would expect that it would bother you. Or, I'm sorry. If it bothers me, I would expect that it would bother you, right? Something, whatever you're doing, right?
Yeah, so like me, whenever I see I poke you in the chest and it doesn't bother me,
right?
And it's me being nice and saying, hey, it's good to see you, and you're like, fucking stop poking me in the chest.
More of a realistic example would be me coming home from being in the field for 3 weeks and going, oh, I would expect my wife to want to see me as soon as possible, not come home at 3 a.m. because she had a business dinner and then went to the bar, which was 2 blocks away from my house.
Right.
So that whole do unto others thing,
right,
I would apply to situations like that. And I would say, that's pretty fucked up, isn't it? Wouldn't you be mad if I did that to you? And she said, don't think that everything that bothers you would bother me. And so it can screw you up a little bit.
I always took that saying as almost as a side note of treat everybody kindly. So treat others how you want to be treated. I always kind of thought of that way. That means you treat people with kindness love, and caring, respect, that kind of thing. Yeah, and so even if somebody wasn't doing it to you, you were still going to do it to them. Kind of like, I guess maybe turning the other cheek is probably a close one to that. But that's how I was kind of taught to think about that, was that you do it to other people no matter how they're treating you. That's how I was brought up doing it. So, but I understand what you're saying about, well, if you're doing that to me, then yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me as well. But again, it goes back to what I said earlier in the first 12 minutes before it got cut off, is you have to shift your thinking, like to find the positive of it. Okay, well, yeah, I can definitely get in some negative, shitty spiral of, well, it doesn't bother me, so it shouldn't bother you, that kind of bullshit. But if we're always trying to treat each other kindly and the golden rule is applied to that, then we should be pretty copacetic. Everybody should be kind of getting along.
Right. Now the other way that this has also tripped me up, and it might trip up a lot of you husbands out there, and you can comment if you agree with this. For instance, your lady, let's just say some night your lady does something that she's late coming home from work, or she's purchased something that you wouldn't have agreed on, but you choose, you know what? I'm going to play the martyr. I'm not going to act like that bothered me, even though it did, but you're going to act like it didn't. And then you're going to say, score one for me. Now I got one in the bank. So now when I purchase something that she doesn't agree with, I'm going to say, hey, ho, I didn't get mad. When you purchase something that I didn't agree with, maybe you shouldn't be mad because I purchased something that you don't agree with. that's another way of that golden rule fucking us up, right? Instead of saying,
I don't think there are golden rules anywhere near any of that.
no, I mean, like that was part of my example of
gotcha.
assuming the golden rule makes, when I was younger, it was making me feel like, well, if it bothers me, it obviously would bother you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so my first wife was trying to coach me on that. But that's a common trip up for us husbands. We're like, oh, well, we won't say anything about that. And now we think like we're putting that stuff in the bank somehow.
Right.
And that our partners are aware of that, so that when we fuck up, we're like, oh, I still got like 5 more things I can fuck up on.
So what do you think is the main like functionality of needing a belief system, whether it's the golden rule or whether it's, following the Bible verbatim with your church? I mean, what is it why do we feel like we need to have beliefs? 'Cause I think I told you at one point, one of my therapists, because there's a plethora of them, I leave them in a trail behind me like, dead flies. And
I was going to say hookers on the side of the road.
oh, well, I like that one better. Well, she said to me, Todd, that's awfully convenient. You don't have to believe in anything. So you don't have to have any structure at all. You just kind of float along like a little butterfly and not let anything bother you and not commit to anything, But I have an adverse reaction to people telling me a certain way to do something sometimes. So I'll go back to this book, You Are a Badass. She was talking about, one of the chapters is about the G word.
What's that?
God.
Oh.
And so... Ooh. Yeah, it's so horrible. But you know what it is? It is horrible to me. It is horrible to me because when I hear somebody say God, I instantaneously am like, you're going to push your shit on me. I don't want to hear about it. I go into this like negative mindset of like.
So you don't say, preach on, preacher?
Yeah, I don't. And so, again, this is why this book was impactful, the small amount, is that she said, it doesn't matter what you call it. Stop calling it anything. Call it the Force from Star Wars. Call it the universe. Call it whatever you want to call it. The Great Spirit or the Great Mystery. It doesn't matter. But we can all pretty much agree that there's something else going on that's undefinable. And so stop calling it anything you want, or you be happy with how you call it. I'll be happy with how I call it. And we're going to get along a lot better because of that. And so when she started saying that about, it went back to things that we've talked about in the past that were impacting me at the same time was, let's get rid of all these labels. It just causes us more conflict. You're a conservative. I'm a liberal. God damn it. Now we can't be friends. We already have these parameters set up for ourselves and our belief systems that don't let us waver or be able to go like, I don't know. I don't know.
Can I just be a human? Can I just be a human for right now?
Yeah,
an unsure human.
I'm an unsure human. Go ahead.
Oh, is it my turn to talk?
When you go back,
I thought you were talking. I was just saying, can I just be a human without labels?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Somehow this got really awkward. I apologize.
No, I'm not. No, go ahead. Be an awkward human.
You were on this rant of labels, and I was just agreeing with you. Can't I just, instead of being a progressive or a Democrat or a Republican, can I just be this awkward person who's trying to get through life?
And making a lot of fucked up things, making a lot of poor choices, making a lot of mistakes, embracing our fear. That's kind of where this book is kind of taking me down the path of, which is the more labels I shed, and it's not like the labels on me, it's how I'm perceiving everybody else. The more labels that I shed is giving me clarity in how I think about things. In the sense of, so if we stop drawing lines and making labels and confining people inside of those, it gives us more opportunity to talk things out, to be kind, to have the pause, to be able to be thoughtful to people. So I really liked that part because once I did that, because I've been going to a really amazing church for the last couple of years. I love it. I love the people there. They're awesome. It's a Lutheran church, and I was having this. Time.
I swear to God.
Yeah,
I swear to God. You just put a label on it.
No, I'm getting to that. Taking that label off.
All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was having a difficult time. I felt like an interloper. I felt like like I was.
Ooh, nice word.
Thanks. That was great. I was feeling like I was a fraud, And then when she and I have been kind of battling this and kind of being okay with it and say, hey, I get a lot from these people and I hope they get something from knowing me. It'll all work out in the end. But hearing her say, take away all those labels, so I don't care how much they talk about Jesus Christ being the only Savior. I don't care how much they talk about, these specific things that you have to do. I can just be there and enjoy these people for who they are. They love me and care about me. I love and care about them. And I am the only person that's going to limit that. If I start going, oh God, they're talking about Jesus again. I have to turn off my brain, or I don't really agree with that. Instead of focusing on those parts that I don't agree with, that I don't like, it gives me a little bit of space.
Yeah, well, you're in the tree of trust. You're in the tree of trust
am I?
until
The nest?
somebody has an affair with somebody else, and then your best friend is assumed and accused of having an affair and unpure thoughts with the first person, and then that first person's husband shows up, and all anarchy breaks out, and then you're accused of being gay. Wait a second. All right.
That was reality.
That was...
That was really well done, by the way.
Thank you.
That was
Thank you very much.
fantastic. Golf clap for sure. That's way too loud for a golf clap.
Anyway, what I wanted to say was one of your questions that you threw out a few minutes ago, which was why do people freak out, or why do people feel the need for God, right?
To have beliefs.
For beliefs.
Yeah.
And I think it's about feeling secure and safe, because we are, as human beings, we can be manipulated very easily. We are fragile. We have no fucking clue what we're doing on this earth. And every day that is reinforced with me. So if you can go someplace, I recently watched a movie and somebody had said, home is where you are most missed. Home is where people miss you when you're not there. Okay? So home can be work. When you call in sick to work and your coworkers are like, hey, where's Ryan? Where's Todd? We missed him today. Oh, he's on vacation. Man, we really missed you. How was it? That's home. That can be home. You have some security in that group. There's a like-minded sense of group think, right?
I really like that. That's awesome.
So, yeah, I really like that too. So, when you go to church, whether it's Catholic, whatever it is, it's a group setting, and there's something about that group setting where I know the person sitting in the pew in front of me is not going to turn around and spit at me. Well, I don't know that from my last church, but I'm sure that maybe you feel that way now. Sure. But when you go to church, that's the overwhelming feeling. People can let loose. You can sing. You can dance. Some people even fall, speak in tongues because they're so comfortable and secure and safe in this group of people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day, and I had brought this exact example up, and I said, I might not know you at all. Okay? One of my friends comes up and goes, hey, you know that guy? Yeah, he's a good guy. He goes to my church. I like him a lot. He's a pretty nice guy. I mean, I don't know him really well. I don't know what he does at home, but he seems like a really nice guy. Why? Because you subscribe to the same belief system I do. You go to a group setting where everybody is nice to each other, where there's no shitty things being slung at people. There's no gossiping bullshit that you're aware of. You're there to listen to one speaker. You're all kind of in this meditative trance, right?
Sure.
Supposedly nothing but positive, loving message being out there. So why wouldn't people flock to that throughout history? You feel safe. You feel like you're a part of a community, and you don't feel like a loner.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that I'm a full subscriber that religion helps us a lot with death. We have a terrible time with death in our culture, which is completely fear-based because we just don't know what happens after this plane, as my dad would say, this universe we're in right now. We don't know what's after this. And so the idea scares us to death. And so we need to, excuse the pun, we need to find ways that kind of give us, hey, this is what we think is how it works after you're past here, And it's funny because I was just talking to my son about this on the way here tonight, because in Steve Young's book, he's a hardcore Mormon, right? He was a a bishop at 16.
Who is this?
Steve Young, quarterback for the 49ers. You wouldn't know he is. Bishop at 16, very involved in his church, has never drunk a drop of alcohol his entire life, didn't have sex with his before marriage ever, and he was into his 30s. Like really hardcore, right? And this woman in this badass book talks about you finding a way to connect with your higher power, whatever it is, right? She thinks prayer and meditation is a big thing to tap into that powerful source that you have around you, that the universe wants you to succeed. The universe wants everything awesome for you. You have to be real. You have to be the one to tap into that, right? So I was thinking about his book because he was in a really severe car accident, and the three people in the car, he was in the front seat, unbuckled, didn't have a scratch on him. The driver, a good friend of his, was killed. A kid in the back seat was severely injured because the car flipped over like 4 times. But he relives that moment a couple times in the book because he feels like, he's like, I know I bounced around inside of there, but I felt like I was in this little warm bubble of being taken care of. And he's a big believer in miracles and things like that. And so I'm like, the guy is fucking all in when it comes to his religion and his belief. I mean, he is absolutely connected to his higher power. At least he thinks so.
Sure.
I don't necessarily disbelieve that he wasn't being taken care of when that took place. Do you know what I'm saying? If he's that tapped in. And so this lady is talking a lot about that, saying, against kind of what you said before, that really anything that you want to accomplish is possible if you believe in it so much, it is doable. Now, you and I could easily say, well, I can't be an NFL quarterback at 40 whatever. That's never going to happen, even if it's a dream of mine, right? But is there a way that I could play football and have a similar experience as to be a quarterback in the NFL? And I was thinking about, ever heard the book Paper Lion?
No.
Okay, it's an old book from the 70s. This guy was a sports writer, right?
All right.
And he went and he said, I want to join the Detroit Lions. And they're like, we're talking about, it's like, just treat me, I'm going to write a book about how this process works. So I want you just to treat me like I'm one of the rookies coming in. You know, and he was a skinny little guy. His Plimpton is his last name. But Alan Alda played him in the movie.
Alan Alda?
Yeah, played him in the movie, right? And Alex Karras was in the movie, a Hawkeye, and a very famous Detroit Lions player.
Which, by the way, Alan Alda also played Hawkeye in the hit TV movie MASH.
MASH, yeah, and
Or show.
And then Alex Karras was in Blazing Saddles.
Okay.
Anyways, so he went and he actually played in one pro football game. He lined up underneath the guard and not the center, because they put him on at the end of the game, because he had to experience one game, because he went through training camp. He went through all what the rookies go through. He was writing about the experience of being an NFL player in the real time, right? Anybody would have said, hey, listen, dude, you're never going to play football in the NFL. You're not an NFL quarterback, right? This is a weird, twisted little way of actually accomplishing something like that. Right? No, I'm saying that. I say no. It's unrealistic. It's unrealistic, and I know that.
But you're not.
Well, I think it's unrealistic in
No.
general.
You're not playing. When you say, "Well, I'm never going to play in the NFL," somebody saying, "Hey, Timmy, I know you have special needs. We're going to let you win every wrestling match. Look, you're a state champion. Good job, Timmy." No, you really didn't. You did technically play. You did technically win. But people gave you all that.
Right.
You didn't earn that. Why do that to somebody? Why just give people that? Again, I'm not trying to be a complete Debbie Downer here.
No,
here's a guy saying, I want to play an NFL. I would love to play in the NFL.
Right.
To me, that means you've earned it. Like, you've really gone through all the different things that all these other players have done.
Right.
And that means grade school football. That means high school getting your ass kicked. That means having stress and being in the gym and really putting in the time, the hours, the mental fortitude. This guy's writing a book, and then they go, hey, by the way, let me give you a gimme. And he goes, look, that. I have achieved my goal. I did get to play in an NFL game.
And I don't even think that was the main story of him wanting to play. I think he was just trying to talk about what football is like.
I'm just saying that's my negative. I'm a Debbie Downer right now. I apologize.
It's okay. But I think that
Trying to keep it
really
real.
depends on your perspective. Now, whether that's realistic sometimes or not, I don't know. But I think it really depends on how you are going to look at something. So when I talked with Rachel, when you were all talking with Rachel here, and I was like, you can be anything you want. Within reality, I would never tell any of my kids that they, you know, are going to be something for sure, because we just never know. But if you have a dream and you want to go after something, you know, at some point you might have some reality slapped to you for sure. But I think it's okay to have a big goal and a big dream. And why can, you know, what's going to keep you from doing that? You know, the realistic parts are going to stand out pretty fast. But if there are if it's a dream that's possible, then, you know, maybe you can go for something that's a little bit more realistic. And maybe your dreams can change over time.
Yeah. No, I'm not mocking
cynic
you.
in you.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm not trying to be cynical. I'm trying to think, how can I tie this into Wakanda and the Black Panther?
Oh.
And death for us is more of a stepping off point. I kind of like that. When you were talking about death earlier,
I heard
and
it
I
was
was like,
really
oh,
good.
this is a great.
I heard it was great.
In the.
Did you like it?
I loved it. I thought it was a great movie. I think all this controversy about, well, it's a all black movie, whatever. It's a great movie with great actors and actresses, and whether they're all black or all white or all green or all orange, I don't give a fuck. It was awesome. Special effects was awesome. The storyline was awesome. The scenery was beautiful. Wherever they were shooting, whatever special effects they did to it, it was magically delicious.
Really?
It was magically delicious. And if you didn't like the movie, then it wasn't your thing. And shut the fuck up and let everybody else enjoy it. But there were a few softly laid themes that went through this movie that is so popular right now of the Black Panther, which is, at one point, I should say the whole movie is basically about the fact that there is this civilization that has kept itself hidden from the rest of humanity.
Oh.
And they are...
Is this going to be a spoiler alert?
No, because they say it in trailers.
Good.
But they are vastly technologically advanced to anything else on Earth. Right? And they've been this way.
And they've been around for a while.
Yeah. Within the first 2 minutes of the movie, within the first 5 minutes of the movie, they set up the whole history of Wakanda. Why is Wakanda the way it is? You know, how does...
And Wakanda's this mythical place?
Yes.
Okay.
But the theme of this movie is, one of the themes is, we have blocked ourselves off from the rest of humanity because we are better than them. We have figured out a system for us that works. And we're thriving. We don't have any of the problems that the rest of the world has. We don't have any of the problems that any of the other black nations have. We don't have drug problems. We don't have criminals. We don't have all these things. And some of the Wakandans have a really hard time with the idea that they have all of this technology. They have all of this advanced thinking and science and medical advancement that can heal somebody who's been shot in the spine. Wow. Right? And walking around the next day. They have all of this stuff, yet they stay hidden and they create a lie that they're this horrible third world country that has hardly anything to give to anybody, and they're just like, you know, some poor African nation.
Oh, wow. Is
So
it all
that's
underground or something?
No, they just have this, they have this force field around the area that makes it look like just a jungle, some bullshit, whatever. But anyway, so the theme is, you know, the big conflict is between this. Do we hold to traditions, which is what we have works, and fuck y'all, because we don't want to risk what we have, which is a good thing.
Right.
Or do we expose ourselves to the rest of this diseased world that is under conflict and war and horrible shit? And do we try to help them? Okay.
Yeah, well, they take our technology and use it for good. Or
Right.
They take it and
so that's
screw
the
somebody
overwhelming
else.
theme.
Interesting.
And the main character, the Black Panther, he wages war with this very idea throughout the movie. So when you talk about traditions and belief systems, and when you feel very secure and something is working for you, it might not be working for me.
Right.
Everything that you say and do and whatever offends me. It makes me fucking sick to think about what you, Todd, are doing, because I'm not into that stuff.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to paint a certain picture
Got
here.
it, yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're happy. You're very happy. You go to a certain church, you say certain things, you go home at night with a smile on your face, you go to bed with a smile. You have sex with your lady until you can't breathe anymore. Whatever.
How do you know I am?
Because I've seen you jog down the street.
Walk up a set of stairs.
You have terrible cardio. But whatever is working for you is working for you, but I don't want any of it. And I'm offended by it. But that's kind of this thing, right? That's this worry that they're having. They're like, oh, should we press upon the rest of the world the way we do things? It would be a lot like Mormons going, hey, we have no problems here. We walk a very wonderful life. We have kids getting up and learning how to be responsible adults. They're going on mission trips around the world. They're learning about, they're engrossing themselves in humanity, things that I haven't done.
Right.
You haven't done, but they're doing all that. And you know what? That's the best way to be. And we're going to, and you all, everybody else is fucked up. And we have more technology than you. And we're going to tell you, hey, you're fucked up. And this is the way it should be. Do you see
Yes. Yeah.
how controversial that could
Probably
be?
one of the best analogies you've had.
Thank you very much, Todd.
Far
I think
few between.
Adolf Hitler said it best when he said, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
But-
that was great.
But there's another person who thought, I have it down. This is the best way to be. And we're going to press upon you our belief systems. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, I've heard awesome things about it, so I really want to see it. But
Black Panther, not Hitler.
right, yeah,
Okay.
Black
I
Panther.
just
But
wanna
there's
be
a couple
clear.
of movies that somebody said I need to watch too. So, but I don't. God, I'm so bad about it. I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. What is your? Okay, this is another question for you.
Okay.
And I just love hearing the sound of your voice. What is your Well, that's not it. In what way are you not fully alive and engaged in your life? Do you think this is a big one? I say the big one for last, kind of. So.
I think my biggest want, I think my biggest depressive thing that I think the main thing that brings me down that I wished I had, but also terrifies me so much that I feel like I'll never strive for, is this overwhelming feeling of freedom, right? Freedom of financial debt, freedom of judgment, freedom of expectations, just this really overwhelming sense of freedom. Like I am my own man and I can't let anybody down and nobody really has to depend on me, and just, I'm good.
And why don't you think you'll ever get that?
Because I have kids and a wife.
Okay.
I have a mortgage, and I feel like those responsibilities create such a fear of failure that I cannot fuck up my kids. I cannot screw with the financial freedom that I've given my family, right? If I were to just say, listen, I have a pretty good job, but it doesn't allow me to be who I want to be all the time. I'm out. See ya. Woo! I'm living in a VW van down by the river. Peace out, bitches. I could never do that to my family.
Right.
And
Does it have to be one? I mean, so you're talking about being financially secure like you are now, and living in a van down by the river. Is there any happy medium inside of that you feel like you could find? Where you have the self-fulfillment for part of it, and maybe other parts aren't there yet, but there are parts that you could really, I can lock this down in this area. Because it's made me think of it because again, my son said to me, my favorite part of that Steve Young book, Dad, is that he was talking about he has big worries, and all he tries to do is flip them into small worries, which means he just chips away at the ones that he can handle.
Right.
So is there other parts of it that can be chipped away at? And so
Sure.
it's not the big,
Sure.
the
Yeah,
big thing?
absolutely. I think, my wife and I have done that when we pay off a car, and we're like, oh man, I didn't even realize that stressor, that weight of having a car payment, which we were easily paying, had any effect on our day to day. But it did, because I feel fucking great right now that is paid off. I own that motherfucker. I don't have to worry if I'm sick or a medical thing comes up and I'm not able to make a car payment. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I could take that big thing and turn it into little victories by saying, well, and that's what we're doing. I mean, we chip away at our debt, but when I say freedom, I think of it more as like a flavor. It's a theme. It's something that's unattainable. It's like seeing smoke and trying to bottle it.
But I mean, even if you paid off everything and you were debt free, you would still feel
There's
the
like an
need to work at that job to make sure you have it. Okay.
No, that's one aspect of freedom.
Okay.
Right? Like I said, it's a flavoring of everything in my life. Anytime I felt bad in life, anytime I felt really stressed, anytime that I wanted to retreat, run away, rebel, it was because I felt like I was under the thumb of somebody, like I was trapped, right?
Okay.
So the opposite of feeling trapped is freedom, right? So how do you get that sense of freedom? How do you get that authentic feeling of freedom in every aspect of your life? How do you flavor your whole life with this aspect of, you know what? I totally have power over everything that I want to do. All right, well, I'm going to do it. I can't do that because
Is it a shift in mindset so that you don't feel like I'm not trapped. I am.
Responsibilities trap you.
Okay.
Responsibilities trap you. And that is a willing contract that I signed when I said I wanted to have kids. That was a willing contract that I signed when I said I wanted to be married again. That was a willing contract that I signed that I said I want to have this house and I want to live here. If I didn't want those things,
right.
If I really thought about freedom and being trapped, I wouldn't have said I want kids.
Well, I'm saying that deciding to have certain things and live your life a certain way are choices that you made because you wanted to do it.
Right.
That doesn't sound like a trap to me. It sounds like, I totally get what you're saying about the idea of responsibilities and things you committed to. But then, if then it wasn't really a trap because you're still doing what you said. You'd made the choice to do what you're doing, and you're getting there.
Right. No, it's a difficult thing.
It's hard for me.
It's a difficult
the word
thing.
Trap is hard for me.
Right. It's a difficult thing to explain. But when you feel trapped, when you feel like I've already said I'm going to run this fucking marathon, I have to. Why? Because I have 50 people who know I'm going to do it. They're all depending on me to do it. I have to do it. I'm trapped. There's no fucking way out. I would feel it's too much of an emotional payoff to not do it. I would have to give up so much of what I feel like I've earned up to this point.
And I feel kind of like what Rachel said, which is that sounds like a fucking burden. But if it's going to help me accomplish it, I know what you're talking about. Can I look at it in some different way so that it's not... I wouldn't fucking run a marathon for anybody else. I'm going to run it for myself. Now people are holding me accountable to make sure I do it, but I hope that part of it is me going, I want to accomplish this goal, not now, oh fuck, I told everybody I was going to do it, and now I have to do it. Well, I guess I'll start running. I would want to be like, okay, I signed up for a marathon.
Yeah.
I want to run,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's maybe me. Again, I've told you in the past how I kind of mind fuck myself to get to the gym. I kind of mind fuck myself to do certain things.
Sure.
I feel like it's kind of the same way. My perspective is everything on this. I'm either going to be running a marathon because I want to run a fucking marathon.
Sure.
And I'd rather be, and I don't do this, I would rather be driven by the positive parts of that instead of the, oh, I'm going to look foolish. People are going to say I'm a jackass because I signed up for it and then I fucking didn't do it.
Right.
That's the fear part driving me.
Right.
I think I would try to find, like I said, don't do this myself, find something positive that's going to drive me to do it.
Sure. But nothing positive has ever driven me towards something growing up. Back to where we started this conversation.
You didn't enjoy wrestling because it was a burden that you had to do.
It was a stressor.
Yeah.
So stress has pushed me to achieve goals. The military was stressed to push me to achieve a goal. They didn't say, "Hey, Matt, please wake up.
That's a great.
We're going to go do a 12-mile road march if you want to. Listen, we're just going to talk to each other and we're going to positively get each other through this." No. By the way, maybe things have changed, but when I was in, and I think a lot of vets can attest to this, you're on a road march, guess what you're saying to each other? Fucking nothing. It's silence. You fucking start talking to each other, and your drill sergeant starts yelling at you, right? So it's stress has always gotten me from one goal to another, right? It's very hard for me to learn how to do something other than that. I mean, I've done this podcast. Why? Because I enjoy it, but I still stress about it. I still stress that I'm going to put out something that, one, is enjoyable, two, sounds good, and it's going to be enjoyable to watch. How are we going to make this entertaining? You still stress about it a little bit. Until I learn a different way to do it, stress will be involved in everything that I think is worthwhile.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I can see what you're saying. It sounds really hard, and I feel like when I'm stressing about things, it makes things shittier. It makes things harder almost if I'm stressing about it. If I'm being thoughtful about what it is I'm hoping to accomplish, and I'm sure, and then maybe this goes back to what you said before, which is different and on different aspects of your life. I would hope that stressors were less because it's something that I want to do. Because I think JD asked me on our vacation, if you could do anything you want, what would you do? And I think I told this the other day. And she's like, wouldn't it be podcasting? Is that what you would do? And I was like, yeah, but it's so that I can meet really fucking awesome people.
Right.
That's why I would do it. That's why I'm envious of Joe Rogan. It's not that he's, has a kickboxing gym in his studio. It's that he has fucking awesome people come in there to talk to him. The part is the coolest part for sure.
That, and I wish I could do the splits.
Yeah. Either one of those, or swing kettlebells like he does. But I mean, that's why I like it.
Or do the splits.
That's why I like it. I would think that the idea of being able to have interactions with people that I think are cool, or that I like, or that have something to give me, that sounds fucking awesome to do. Maybe that's being the next Oprah, but I don't want to be the next Oprah. I'm way too.
No, I really get a lot out of meeting new people and getting different perspectives and listening to somebody tell me something that I wouldn't have been exposed to before. That's a huge thing. And don't get me wrong. If I choose to run a marathon or a half marathon or whatever, it's because I want to do it. But something that is a very popular thing with entrepreneurs is overpromise and underdeliver, right? And underdeliver is not a good thing, but overpromising is. So if you don't know how to do something, you're like, yep, I can do that for you. You bet I can. That's not in my DNA. That's just not my thing. So people have come to me and said, hey, Matt, I'd love to do a podcast. I was wondering if we could do this kind of project. And I would say, let me see. You know what? Let's work together for a little bit. Let me see if I can give you what you would like. Because I don't want to overpromise.
Right.
I'm not saying I can do all the things that you want done. But maybe I can. Maybe I can give you what you like. I'm going to do the best I can. So therefore, I start stressing. I'm like, oh, there's these expectations. I really want to do a good job. I really want to impress these people. I want to do something that they are super happy with. And if they are super happy, all right, I can be proud of myself now.
Right.
It's
ever
not
thought-
all doom and gloom.
Right, but I mean, you've thought of quitting this altogether because it can just be too stressful.
Yeah, I've thought about that. There's a lot of different reasons why I got to that point.
I know, but I'm just saying. But you got to a point where the stress was just so much. Just like the expectations are too high.
Yeah,
There's too many things happening.
I thought
And
about
so-
just selling everything and when was I less stressed? Well, it was before I had all of this stuff.
Right.
Before I was doing all of this extracurricular thing. When was I in shape?
Right.
It was when I didn't have to spend
And that's
hours
why
of time doing.
I think you
different stuff.
should read that Steve Young book, even though you don't really care about football or like it. But he, at every single level, was like, "All right, man, you accomplished what you want to accomplish. Let's not worry about this anymore. Let's stop doing this. It's just too. It's too much. It's too much of a burden. I just want to relax. This is too much stress." And he's walking into play the Super Bowl. He's going, I just don't know if this is what I want to do. But he has this competitive side that kind of overwrites things. But he is all the time going, wait a second, this is just too much, to the point where when he got his very first checks as being a professional football player, was two $1.5 million checks. He went right to his bishop's house and said, here, God, take these. I do not want this. And he's like he opens up and goes, this is $3 million. He's like, yeah, expectations are too high. I didn't even want to think about it. I'm just giving it to you. You do whatever you want with it. So, I mean, that's a whole other level, I guess. But, I would say that it would be, it's hard for me.
So what you're saying is I'm a lot like Steve Young.
I'll be happy to say that because I think you're pretty great. But I wonder if it is a shift in perspective. It kind of happened when Rachel talked about, when you brought up earlier, hey bud, I'm out. I can't help you anymore. Oh, the one person that was supposed to help me is out. Fuck. Now I'm really fucked. I thought I was having a hard time before.
Right.
You fucking wait and see what happens now. So I wonder if,
because the guy who was supposed to have all the answers
doesn't have all the answers.
Mystically
Right. Doesn't
right.
have them. And now I'm out here by myself.
Right.
I'm
broken. There's something
Yeah,
wrong with me.
something's up. And so I wonder if it's, when I get those perception shifts when they happen, it really helps me. Like the God thing helped me, that shift in. So that's why I'm going back to the idea of, if we look at things as the traps and the thing, I don't know if you have to say like it's a willing trap or it's a trap that I chose and I'm happy being in this position. I don't know, but it's like shifting your mindset, because I don't think you're ever going to get out of a trap. That's what it feels like to me. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
No, I think you're thinking of it just fine. It's the mind fuck that I've talked about from a previous job that I worked at. Nothing had changed in a coworker's life, but one day he was skipping. Like the clouds had parted and sunlight is coming down on him, and he just looks so fucking happy, whereas normally he was a sad sack. What's changed, dude? I got a different job. Really? Where are you working? Oh, I'm going to work at this other factory. When do you start that? Oh, in a month. But today, nothing's changed.
Right.
Today, you woke up the exact same way. You did the exact same things. You came into the exact same factory. You drove the exact same route. You probably kissed your wife goodbye the exact same way. So your mind fucked. You fucked with how you perceive your life, and you're able to walk around on cloud 9. And I feel like that is what I need to work on.
Oh.
I need to work on my perception of my reality, which sounds so fucking foo-foo.
No, it's not.
It does kind of. To me,
it does sound foo-foo, but I
Yeah.
think it's fucking 100% legitimate. My dad just the other night goes, so, are you in shock about how happy you are? And I go, no, I'm very, very aware of what my life is like right now. And I said, and my belief is that the minute I stop realizing how good it is, it's going to be shit. I need
Once
to
you
make
start
sure.
taking it for granted.
Yeah, I need to make sure there is an absolute reason why my life is so incredible right now, you know? And you said that to me too. Dude, have you ever stopped and thought about how fucking 180 degrees different your life is right now?
Thank you for saying 180 and not 360.
You're welcome. That's a full circle. That wouldn't work.
Drives me crazy.
You know, you're a math guy. I forgot. You say that to me too. And I'm like, yes, I am aware. I am totally aware of how different my life is. And I still have fucked up days. Like I said the other day, I think it was with Rachel, that I wanted to throw punch some people at work. I still have my days where I get really stressed out and life is hard. But I try really, really, really hard every day to have a moment where I'm like, you have a golden fucking ticket. Your life is that way. You know? And I still have all the debts. I still have everything else that's going on. I'm still trapped by my job and those aspects of things. But my life is fucking golden. And now that could be being brought up the way I was brought up, right? She jokes around with me all the time. She's like, now listen, I know you didn't grow up in a teepee. I know you grew up in a teepee and this apartment's just fine for you. This is not going to fucking work for me. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I can understand that, right? But I know how bad it can be. And I know how much it can suck. And so I refuse to not live in la la land, that the world isn't the way I want it to be and I'm going to change it all, but to be aware of how I am in this world and how I'm going to perceive it and how I'm going to be in it. That I can control and that I can handle.
Right. Yeah.
And that was pretty foo-foo for you.
Well, I when I think of foo-foo, Todd.
That's okay. I can take it.
We all have our own perception of ourselves. Right. Which can be completely different than the way people perceive you. What are you really putting out into the world? How are people reacting to your actions? Right.
Right.
I feel like, and please comment if I'm wrong, I feel like I don't put out pity poor me. I feel like I put out a fairly positive feeling into the world, except for when I talk about this shit on the podcast. But the thing that makes me not want to talk about these things, the thing that I think might make people hesitant to share their true feelings on their lives, is that we are so blessed. I am very blessed. I'm complaining about my perception of my blesseditude.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and I feel really guilty. And then guilt is a definite part of not feeling great.
Yeah.
You know, like, what's wrong? Are you having a bad day? I don't like to complain about a bunch of stuff, so I might just say, I'm just tired. I didn't sleep well. You know? Mm-hmm. I don't want to say, well, by the way, I feel trapped. Not like in a put my finger on it exactly type of trap, but just, you know, trapped. And then I feel guilty for feeling trapped because my fucking life is 99.5% perfect.
Right.
Who wants to fucking hear that shit? You know? But I do feel like people, I want to say this because I want others to be like, yes, Matt, you're not the only one that feels this way. So I say this. I think that other people feel this way. I think other people look at their lives and they go, you know what? Yeah, I complain about all these things. But in reality, my life's really pretty good. Really. Have my kids been kidnapped? No. Have they died from an illness? No. Does anybody right now have cancer? No. We all have jobs. We're all able to pay our bills. I have a smartphone, for heaven's sakes. Life's pretty goddamn good. But I still feel sad in a way. And Joe Rogan just had a guest on his show that was talking about depression and addiction. And one of his key ingredients, a book that the guest had written, was talking about why is there a depression? Why is there an easy addiction to chemicals? And it's about this feeling like we haven't been taught how to have a meaningful life anymore. We've given up on traditions. We've given up on a lot of things that used to give us meaning to life, right? We used to have our churches. We used to have like hardcore family gatherings,
Community.
right? Community. Mom and dad, they were always going to be around. There's a tradition. Mom's going to be at home. There's a tradition. We've I'm not going to blame everything on women going into the workforce. But when we gave up all of our traditions, we've also stopped showing our kids how to have a meaningful life instead of just having a successful life.
Right. Or watching your parents succeed is watching them do nothing but work and be exhausted when they come home.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
My kids have asked, I'd love to do a podcast, or Dad, I would love to be on like a sports talk radio. Can we do that sometime? I'm like, yeah, you can come down in the studio and screw around, and then that makes me feel good. But on the flip side of that is, do you really have a podcast today, Dad? You're going to work overtime?
Oh.
Again, Dad? There's a lot of parents just have to deal with not only if you're lucky, you have one job, right? If you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're lucky, you're able to work overtime every now and then at that job. But that takes away from your family. And you're lucky if you have a stay-at-home wife or a stay-at-home husband that can fill that need, that gap for your kids. But your kids still want to see you. They still want to have time with you. And if you have hobbies that your kids get to share in, awesome. But if you have hobbies that you can't share with your kids, that's more time away from your kids.
Right.
So my son coming down and saying, "Oh, can I do this?" It's a way in which I can help him find meaning, right? Instead of just value or happiness. Like, let's try some things out. You want to try this? There's no reward in it. There's no money in it.
Right.
You can try it out, see how you like it, see if you're a goof, but he's entertained by it,
Sure.
That interaction creates hopefully some type of meaning that we can say, you know what, when you get older, pal, it doesn't have to be about your paycheck. It has to be deeper than that.
Right.
It has to, where are your values? Where do you put all of your love and hope and dreams and security? Where is home? When you're gone, who misses you?
Right. And I think that's a hard thing for people it's hard to meld the two things together, because I used to think, oh, I'll get a good job and then I'll have this good job and I'll do all the shit I really want to do on the side. Right. So every day I'm doing this, but all the things that really fulfill me, I'm doing over here all the time. And it's really hard because, again, it splits you even more ways, because then you're not there. And so then it makes me think, okay, so then how do you bring them together? What do you do to bring them together? And what fear is holding you back? So, she wasn't alluding to me saying, hey, I'm going to become a new Joe Rogan and I'm going to start doing just podcasts and I'm no longer doing my other job, but she was saying, what if you did? What would that entail? What would you do if you did that? What would be the first steps that you would take? And I was like, oh, fuck, now you're starting to ask real questions and I can start finding real answers. And then it scares me even more, because then I'm like going, oh, so now I'm starting to see glimpses. Like, so what would I have to do? Who would I have to talk to?
Mm-hmm.
Who would I have to interact with? Who would I have to get money from? Like, how could I go about making this happen? It makes it real. And then it goes, oh, super scary. All of a sudden I start seeing the cracks in the fissure of my own fear of like going, this is possible if you really wanted to do it. You can make things happen, and it may take you a hell of a lot longer to become a well-respected podcaster.
Right.
But you can see how it could happen. But it's a
Right.
lot of time, a lot of energy, and do you have the commitment to make it happen? Again, all those things start piling back on again, right?
Steve Young, he enjoyed playing football in high school, right? He enjoyed playing it in college. But once he signed that contract, it's too much. Here's $3 million. I don't know what to do with it, right?
Right.
And I think when we think too large, when we look
yeah.
down the road too far, we're in high school. We're in like elementary football, you and I, right now, right?
Sure.
If we look down too far and we're like, whoa, what am I going to do with that $3 million check from the NFL? It scares the fuck out of us, just like it did Steve Young.
Right. And didn't Joe Rogan have a comedian on his show that he said, or he talked about a comedian he talked to who said, who's a famous comedian now, who said, if I was thinking about starting right now, I don't know if I do it. Luckily, I got into it early, took some chances, didn't give a fuck, and became famous doing this. But if I were to sit back right now, I'm going to start cold turkey as a brand new comic, I'm not sure I would go for it. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. Has the landscape changed that much? You know, is there
responsibilities and life has changed.
Yeah.
Is that comedian older? Does he have a wife now? Does he have kids now? Does he not want to be on the road very much?
Right.
You know, when you're a younger person and you don't have those bowling balls holding you down. The old ball and chain.
But there is a part of it, because you made it really clear. There's a part of it that has to do with your perception.
Yeah.
You know, and it's how you perceive what's happening. Is it a trap, or is it a choice I made? I'm in my choice. I want to make some different choices from now on, because I don't want to be like this anymore. I don't want to be in a trap. So then, okay, I'm not in a trap anymore. How do I get out of what I perceive as a trap? Right? So then it's shifting your mindset to do something different.
I was trying to think of the motivational speaker coach that I've worked with a little bit, Mike. I'm trying to think of his last name. Mike Gillette.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Gillette. This is his specialty. This what we're talking about right now, of getting out of your own head, how to figure out how to move forward, how to get the best results out of yourself, how to mind fuck yourself to have the best perception possible to get the best results from yourself, right? To know that when you've finished competing, you've given it your all,
right?
And you're totally happy with that. Mike Gillette. If you
do you think that
want to check him out, Mike
if
Gillette.
we know he's that good, if you know that he's that good, and he could change your perceptions about how you view the world or how you view yourself, what is holding you back from going, I'm in, Mike, you're my guy, I'll pay the $100 for your system, whatever it is. It does that, because I thought about the same thing, going, the one thing that kicked my ass, and still probably would, about CrossFit is I am mentally not very strong. Just am not. I'll give up at that 40% mark easy, right? Every time. Even just to take a 2-second break to catch my breath to start up again, I still gave up when I could have kept on going. It was always the mental aspect that really fucked with me. That's why I always appreciated Nick Rosine so much, because I was like, guy's got a fucking mind like a steel trap.
Yeah.
I wish I could tap into that somehow. I could go to Mike Gillette. I could figure out some ways to get past that, but
and
am I holding myself back a little bit, because it's going to be a lot of work?
Mike's bread and butter is with athletics, right? But I think he also talks to corporations. I still think he does one-on-one stuff with people. But I think you can take what Mike is showing you and teaching you and apply it to anything else in your life, right? It's I don't know. When it happens to you, like when you get to that precipice, like nobody, there's like a dog hair floating around. When you, like, nobody, for instance, there's a friend of mine, right, who was diagnosed recently with type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
He's a little overweight, and as soon as he got those results, boom, he dropped a significant amount of weight, changed his diet, everything.
Sure.
I think Mike helps you get to that point without you getting to that point. Does that make sense?
So before you get
to the precipice,
before you get diabetes,
and you already
change.
recognize, you know what? I'd like to lose weight. I would like to be more mentally strong. I'd like to have a better outlook on my marriage. I would like to have a better outlook on my job. How can I be better at my job? Do I feel stifled at my job? Is there more growth? You know, what's important to me? What's driving? What's depressing me? You know, what do I think is? What is it to be a human being? What is it to be a valuable human being? To put meaning back into my life. I think once you can identify those things that would bring you meaning,
Sure.
then you could apply what Mike teaches you. And again, Mike Gillette, I think it's MikeGillette.com.
Maybe it'd be a fun experiment together to talk to him and say, hey, you know, how much is your program? We're both going to follow it together. Maybe I'm sure it's different for everybody perception wise, but maybe we talk about talking to him and saying, hey, I feel like I'm mentally off in the sense of that I can't be motivated to go work out all the time, or I can't find the happiness in my job. I can't find the happiness in my life. Well, for me, I'll stop mincing words. I would rather be stronger when it comes to working out, mentally stronger, to push myself harder, and not quit when it gets tough. And maybe you need to strengthen your mind on how you perceive whatever it is for your job or the traps that you feel like you're in. And so he's working on things with us specifically, but they're both towards like a bigger goal, which is seeing if we can shift how we view the world and how we approach it. That sounds awesome. Then we can become motivational speakers. Be like Josh Coburn.
Oh my God. Nobody is like Joshua Coburn. I think Josh has. I would love to have Josh back on the show.
Yeah.
Because to see the transformation that young man, who has a very gray beard.
Yes.
He's not young necessarily.
He's younger than us.
He's younger than us.
Yes.
But when we met him, tiny Josh.
He wasn't tiny when we met him.
He was a tiny little fella.
No, he wasn't.
He's shorter than me, and he was lighter than me. So therefore, tiny.
Well, we have a picture of the three of us when we first no, that was something else.
We have plenty of pictures of all three of us, and maybe I'll put them on the podcast right now.
But I mean, a good before and afters would be great. If
Sure.
we stood with him and took a picture now, how much bigger he is. 'Cause he looks broader than
he's
us.
ginormous.
He looks like his shoulders are
He's
broader.
so thick, and his beard is so long that it doesn't look like he has a neck anymore. Right? He looks like a goddamn Viking or like a metalsmith.
Oh, that's what he looks like. He should be a
he's
metalsmith
banging
in
on
the
an anvil.
medieval village somewhere,
Yeah.
banging on some iron.
Yeah.
That's
You know what?
exactly
I'm
he
going to
looks like.
send him just this section of the podcast. So, Josh, if you're listening, have some pictures done because you've had a lot of pictures taken lately without your shirt on.
Yep.
We know
you could do it again.
You and I both know it's true. But this time, I think there should be an anvil, and there should be a sledgehammer and some sparks, and maybe some liquid metal behind you, just like over your shoulder, making your body glisten just a bit.
We'll spritz you. He probably would love to come back on here.
Yeah, and I would just love to.
Catch up.
talk
with
to him, catch
Yeah.
up, and see how life's going. And I mean, the last time I saw the guy, him and I were hanging out in Vegas.
Oh,
so it's been
And
at
he's been
least a year.
he's been traveling a lot too.
Yeah,
It
and
looks
he
like.
had said that he was going to pull back a little bit and relax. And
I think he was
kind of-
pulling back in other areas of his life.
Okay,
And
could
doing
be.
other stuff.
Yeah,
So
could be.
because I haven't seen bring the smiles for a while, but maybe he's doing something else. But we could be a motivational speaker with him if we have these fucking minds that are like steel traps that are just strong as hell. And
Well, you might be really good at that. You might be really, really good at speaking in front of people because you're not. I get really nervous. I don't like to have my views out to a bunch of people.
oh, gotcha.
I'm very kind
But again,
of
if people are there to
secluded
hear
person.
your message because they heard you're awesome, what you got to do? You just got to go out there and be yourself.
How about I just promote myself as an ass bag who fucks up a lot?
You can walk out going, okay, prepare for some big mistakes. They're coming.
Ba-bang! Ba-boom! If you want to be like me, follically challenged and slightly overweight with a big nose, well, son, just follow my words.
You know, one of the things before we get done, I wanted to point
What?
out was that JD and I both go back and forth in the
I
sense
love
where,
it that you call your special lady JD.
yeah, that my perception of her, right, is that she's beautiful and
Yeah.
wonderful and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and her perception of herself is not that, right?
Yeah, sure.
She, when I talk about deadlifting and doing the workouts that I like to do when I do them, right?
She thinks
She's-
about how big your hands are.
She goes, yeah, besides that part. She goes, well, you're not going to get like really skinny, are you? And I'm like, what do you mean by skinny? I said, I could easily lose 30 pounds. She goes, and she goes,
you know what? Let's be real.
40?
You and I could both lose 50 pounds.
that would put me at 200. That's really...
Yeah, and it would put me at 190, and it would be fine. We could easily be that and be
Anyways,
healthy.
I say 30, right?
Okay.
Which put me at 220, which is okay for me.
Fatty.
And she was like, I'm not sure and I'm like, I'm not going to be skinny.
But
I'm
listen,
not going to
you
be
haven't,
skinny.
you haven't seen Rip Tight Six Pack Todd.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that. Maybe once
That was
you
a
touched,
flash in the pan.
once
That was
you
a long time
once
ago.
you touch Six Pack Todd, you won't be able to untouch him.
And she's like, I don't know if I like that. I like you just the way you are. And I'm like, you
Aw.
love me and care about me. I appreciate that. Thank you so
Aw.
much. But she's like,
So sweet.
no, I'm attracted to you this way. And I'm like,
Oh, kind of like if you
That
dyed your hair
makes-
blonde, I wouldn't want to fuck you. I'm just kidding. That's not real, JD.
But I think that it has to do with your perceptions of yourself. And so I start feeling better about myself. I don't sit back and go, sweet, Twinkies tomorrow for lunch. Can't wait. I think I still want to look better. I still want to keep working out. I appreciate that she likes me the way I am.
I tell you
But-
what, there's just something about that yellow dye number 5.
Ew. Are you a yellow dye number 5 guy?
No, but it was a quote from Die Hard when he was eating the Twinkie. The fat cop guy in the downstairs, he's talking to
sorry.
Bruce Willis, saying he's eating a Twinkie. He's like, hey, man, those things will kill you. Hey, man, I love my yellow dye number 5.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'll never forget
It's a
that.
Christmas movie that we watched.
It's a
too.
Christmas movie. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Well, that's the only time he says fuck in the whole movie, isn't it?
Well, he doesn't say fuck. He says fucker.
Fucker, and he says motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
That's a pretty good
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
That's
Because I
a
let my
pretty-
kids
that's
watch
a
it for
pretty good
Christmas. It was Christmas, and I let all my kids watch it, and we still watch it. But I started watching Lethal Weapon with them, and that just
You
is
know,
a
we
little too
watch
hard R.
we watch Polar Express, but you know what?
watched that- we
teach
watched
their
that
own.
one.
If you want to watch Die Hard with all the swearing,
We watched that as well.
you
Elf
watch a
is
little Debbie Does Dallas on Christmas Eve. Do you
Ew.
watch that?
No. There's better stuff on YouPorn. We already talked about that.
I don't watch you porn, you sick fuck.
I do.
Oh,
There
is
you
it
go.
good? Is it decent?
Yes. It
Good?
scares me.
It scares
It
you.
scares me because I'm like, oh, when did girls walking around with butt plugs in and flashing people in public become a thing? And are my kids going to watch this and go, huh, I want to try that.
Oh,
That looks like fun.
I like butt plugs. I like flashy things
Or
coming
what
out of my
is
butt.
it? Or what are you talking about?
It's so funny. Remember, there was a couple podcasts ago. One of our listeners was like, "Thanks." Now my girls are asking about butt plugs.
That was the last one.
Ding. You know what? It's not Facebook Live, so it shouldn't be a shocker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's scary how accessible it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it because I'm a grown man and I can control my urges. But a teenager, I mean, can you fathom how chafed your cock would be if you had internet porn when you were a kid? I mean,
Listen.
give me a break. There would have been a
Hold on a
huge
second.
jug of lube.
My mom listens to
I know,
this.
I'm
She
just
watches
saying.
it. Mom, I never did any of that stuff. It would be chafed.
It makes, again, it's just like going, I don't know how they handle the inundation of it. It's overwhelming sometimes. And that's just one little teeny aspect of it. But
Yeah.
I think social media in particular and media in general really pushes people's perceptions of things. One of my oldest sons is a really good artist and a drawer, and he started drawing more full-figured women.
Does
when
he do
draws.
drawings?
Yeah, he does drawings, but he does. But he is. Yeah, I'm like going, I like those better. He's like, well, you like curvy women. I'm like, no, I like fucking women, normal women, and a normal woman right now is a size 10. It is not a size 2. So I'm attracted
Dare
to that.
you, sir? I like women.
Oh, you
Actually, no. I like a particular type of
you
lady.
do. Like yeah.
But I enjoy ladies.
I don't think
enjoy that.
anybody is
But
questioning
there's a
that.
certain type. There's a certain look. There's a certain something. Something interesting that was brought up recently was the fact that men look at women, they're either beautiful or they're hot. Do you know hot women who are not beautiful? That's a good. I like this question, Todd.
Yeah, sure.
So you do know hot women who are not beautiful.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So do you know beautiful women who are not hot?
I don't think so.
Do you know the difference?
Nope.
Okay. So a hot lady, it's like, I just want to fuck you, but I definitely do not want to bring you home to mama.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So they could see it's like some gal in short jean shorts and a tube top.
She's not somebody that you want to have a baby with and stay with.
Okay.
You might want to make a baby with her, but then you take off.
And a beautiful woman.
A beautiful woman is a woman who has all these other qualities that you're like, oh my God, you would be a great mother, and you're beautiful, and I love your personality, and I like hanging out with you. Like you were
and you like to fuck her?
Now yeah.
I hope.
You know what? You know what's weird? You're like, oh. And you like that's a weird thing. So she's all those things.
But the hotness you talked about, just you just want to nail her. This one you're talking about, she has all those things, and you want to do that.
One is you want to have, like, you don't care. It's like having angry sex. Like, you don't care about the other person's feelings.
Okay.
Hot is you're going to get me to climax. You're going to get me to a certain spot, right? And I need to fulfill this need. Okay. I don't want anything after that with you.
Okay.
Beautiful is you get me there, but I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Okay.
And the problem that these people have said, these evolutionary biologists have said, is that we have fucked with that natural way of viewing. So every woman who could be beautiful is now trying to be hot because they're competing with the, so you're putting makeup on. You know you're beautiful, right? Oh, but you're putting makeup on and the high heels and the short skirt, and now you're trying to become hot.
Huh.
So the standard is hot. And so it's not, it's odd that women are like, why do you keep looking at us like, well, all we are is hot? Because you've given up beautiful and everyone is going for hot. If you're all
we're pulled towards hot and we're not as aware of beautiful, because hot is stimulating to look at.
Beautiful is still, we're not unaware of beautiful. We're not unaware of it, but so many women who are beautiful are trying to be hot. Why? Because of social pressures. There's tons of different things, not just because I want to be hot, but they're making themselves up. And a cruder way of saying it would be, there's a lot of ladies dressing like fucking hookers.
Ugh. It makes me wonder. You remember, this is a total spoiler alert about Ready Player One, by the way, so if you don't want to find out about it, don't listen to it.
Great segue, Todd.
No,
keep it going.
In that book, he talks about how he is a big red button. You can push it, and the oasis disappears. Okay. Everything is gone. Mm-hmm. There are times that I wish that we had a button like that for media, social media. I wish there was a button that would just kill Twitter, kill Facebook, kill Instagram. Like, it's just back to, like, I have to write you a fucking letter on a piece of paper with a pen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just means it's so much simpler. It takes what our normal social strife, like going to school and having friends and making those things happen, it makes it 10 times fucking harder.
Sure. Just
to be a person.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you would like all smartphones to go away.
Yeah. I love it.
I would love it too.
I'm going with Rachel. I think my youngest is going to get a flip phone next year. I'm not buying him a fucking smartphone, and he might be able to graduate. I might when he gets to high school, and I know he can handle it, and he sees it as a tool. And he's the one kid I don't fucking worry about. That even if I gave him a smartphone,
the one kid that you're going to make sure has a flip phone, he doesn't really even need one.
Right.
You know why? Because it's easier.
He's a very responsible guy. So I'm like, if I gave him a smartphone and said, don't be on this, he wouldn't be on it. Yeah. But I still feel like I need to, this is a fucking tool.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Not everybody's as easy as you. And I will bet you right now, Todd, on live, somewhat pseudo-live video, I'm going to bet you $10.
Okay.
High stakes.
Yep. For me, it is.
When we get done with this podcast, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to my lady. And I'm going to say, I want to do a challenge with you. 30 days. No Facebook for you.
Right.
You get to pick 30 days, nothing for me. What would it be?
Ooh.
Now
Are you willing
can't-
to make that commitment? That's big.
Now you can't take away my customers. The people that are paying for me to produce their show for them, you can't
I meant
fuck
more
with
of like
that.
her saying no soda for 30 days.
Whatever it is. Soda or video games or whatever it is. Whatever is driving her crazy
Ooh, I like that.
about me. Okay. No Facebook for you. Can we do it?
I think you can. I think you can because it took me 5 years to get a therapist on here to put a mirror up to you and show how fucked up you are.
Great. By the way, I looked really nice. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for that mirror. And I really hope, Rachel, that you come back on because I really valued what you were saying. And I think you have a lot more to say to help other parents. So I really hope that you had a good time and I hope you come back on the show.
It'd be good to do a straight up parenting one. We could talk about struggles we've had as being parents or looking at our parents a certain way. And she probably could give us some good insight because I'm always caught off guard by the things that she says. And I go, oh my God, I cannot believe my perception was so far off of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that. So when she'll say like, so when you said that, what do you think he was thinking? And I go, oh, he's probably thinking this. Yeah. He's just full of shame and probably took 3 steps back instead of 1 step forward. I'm like, oh God, okay. How can I do this differently next time?
Yeah.
So I like being challenged. I don't like a therapist going, oh, hey, you're doing everything rosy, everything's fine. Just keep do this or try this or do this. She's like making you think about what's happening. And once you think about it, then you're like, oh, all right. I know where I need to step up.
Yeah. One of the things that she said to me caught me off guard because she was blunt about it, but it was also very confusing for me. She goes, so how's that working for you so far? And it was a mixed bag of tricks. My answer is a mixed bag of tricks. It has been working for me, lady. That's why I'm still doing it. But I can't continue to do it because my kids are not babies anymore.
Right.
My kids are not toddlers who are fearful.
But you're realizing
my
that it's
kids
not
are
working
growing
for you,
up.
though.
They're getting bigger. They're getting, they're feeling much more emboldened.
Right.
I can't throw the intimidation card out. That was a really easy thing to do when they were so young.
Right. And that wasn't working.
Right. Like 8
I think
weeks old, I was intimidating as fuck.
I think that's what she meant, though. It was not like, hey, I think you got it all figured out. How's that working for you? I think she was helping you recognize it has to change. By her saying, how's that working for you, it was more of like, you're becoming aware that this can't continue on anymore.
Sure.
So you got to shift it.
You know
So
what?
what are you going to do?
Thank you, Todd, that's a great way of breaking it down.
Oh, okay.
You are correct.
Okay.
You're
being
probably really correct. No, when am I sarcastic?
With me, ever? I don't know. Every other sentence?
Sarcasm. I love it.
Sarcasm.
Anyway, God, guys, that's 2 hours. It's way past 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. It's not Facebook Live, but I'll get it loaded up onto YouTube tomorrow. Thank you so much for being with us. If you have more questions about any of the stuff that we were talking about or comments, opinions on what we were saying, if you totally disagree with what I was saying, leave your opinion in the comments below. We'll put it on Facebook. We'll listen to those and we'll reply back. And if you have anything for Todd, because he's kind of fucked up. If you want some really like unicorn, rainbowish kind of answers or questions for him, go ahead and send him some questions. Todd?
Yes.
Is there anything that you wanted to put out there? Do you have anything?
I think we have Justin Roberts is going to be on the podcast next week. He is he used to be on Channel 28, Fox, and Channel 2 in Cedar Rapids. He had a morning show. Good friends of Doug Thompson. Doug Thompson was on the show quite a bit. And Doug is the one who actually hooked us up with Justin back in the day. But Justin now has a radio show on WMT, and he's going to come on and just chat. And I told him we want to talk about media stuff and fake news and just kind of what's his perception being on the other side of the camera, kind of, and understanding the back workings of how things happen. So I'm pretty stoked about it.
Awesome. And we are going to be having some authors back in the studio. We're going to be bringing a lot of guests back in to see where people are at, what's new, what's going on with them and their lives, and what's a new update for them. So, anyway, if you have any suggestions for us, let us know. If you have somebody that you would like to talk about or hear about, or if there's a subject that you would like to focus on, let us know, and we'll
be happy to go through it.
Yeah.
With a big broad brush. We'll just paint shit all over that thing.
Oh, I love painting shit.
I hate it. That's okay. Yin and yang, man.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right.
That's it for tonight on the Primal Scream podcast. I'm Matt.
And I am always Todd.
And we'll see you later.
Adios.
Good night.